I'm Jo from Courage and Connect. We're here to have a chat through today on mesh Wi-Fi and extending farm connectivity and talk about why mesh particularly as a network for connectivity is beneficial for farms and homesteads. So firstly, how do I know? Who am I? I'm Jo. I'm a technical consultant and enterprise architect. I've moved to the Wheatbelt in WA last year, and prior to that, I've had a lot of experience with lots of different technical devices, working in AI, global software firms, etc. And I'd always traditionally had mesh on my 5 acre property, but when I came to larger acreage, I realised that I had to look for options. And I had to add point-to-point connectivity to that as well, but we'll talk about that a bit later. The reason I'm talking about mesh specifically is it's a great way to extend your connectivity from one Starlink Sky Mesh type connectivity without being reliant on Telstra 4G, 5G, Optus connectivity, etc., so that you don't have to have multiple Starlinks. You can extend that so that your family can have strong connectivity in the house. You can have connectivity out in the workshop. And instead of having just connectivity in those two things, we create a bubble around your farm area. So workshops, sheds, sensors that you might have, your machinery that's uploading your boundaries and your as sprayed data, so that you can all be online in one big bubble around your farm or your larger homestead. So I understand the connectivity challenges, and I'm here today just to give you a bit more information as to what mesh actually is. So we're seeing lots of devices now. If we look at what we call the Internet of Things, those devices are in our homes, yes, but they're outside. They're weather stations, they're temperature sensors in cool rooms, right the way through to the machinery that you're farming with every day. So that relies on connectivity. And where we do have such significantly patchy coverage or unreliable coverage with Telstra and Optus, it's really important to look at, well, how can we cast signal with still being reliant on that signal strength, knowing that it's going to be stable? So let's talk about the older ways people used to do things. People used to use extenders. Now, extenders were great in their time, but they, one, weakened the signal as you got further. Two, every time you moved between an extender, your signal dropped. So if you were on the phone, it disconnected you and reconnected you. If you were in the middle of doing something online, filling out a form or whatever, you'd lose your connection. And it had no way of getting through even the slightest line of sight issues like a tree, etc. And they didn't cast distance either. That's the other thing to think about. With mesh, we have strong, stable coverage. We can ensure that we get the strength of connection the whole way through. It's what they call a self-healing network. And what that means is that it picks up the latest zone or node near you. So you don't have to do anything. It's not going to lose connection. It will automatically pick up and move you around those nodes based on the strongest connection. And it knows how to get the strength of connection as well. Works great with Starlink or Sky Mesh, as I said, and your devices don't switch as you're moving around. You can also get a good distance with them. And as I said, it creates a bubble rather than a single stream of connectivity like a point-to-point would do. So if we look at a real farm example, we may have the farm machinery, your header, your sprayer, producing that data, sometimes sending back through Telstra signal connectivity, really depends on your farm and your area. We've got workshops, even just to be able to walk outside the workshop and get signal would be great, but you can get signal inside the workshop with mesh nodes as well. Your cool rooms, as I said, but security cameras as well. If we want to have a camera down at the gate, how can we get enough signal to be able to see that from the house? So there's many ways that mesh can be combined, sometimes with point-to-point, which is access points that just cast a signal. And the difference really is that mesh will cast 100 to 300 meters. If you've got a kilometre or even 5 kilometres to get signal across for a camera, you can do it, but you just need to have point-to-point line of sight. So that's two devices that look across a large distance and they cast connectivity that distance. It's not as strong as mesh connectivity, but it can work for distance. So if we look at some of the devices that we might be looking at, as I said, security cameras, motion sensors, pump controllers, soil moisture probes, being able to gather that data as to the Internet of Things and bring it all to one place and be visible from wherever you are, and to know that you can have connectivity when you're out there in the field as well as strong connectivity at home can make a real difference. So previously, right now, I know when I've experienced it, I've seen a number of farms frustrated by this. There's weak or no connection in their sheds, frustrating signal dropouts as you're just moving around just between your house and the workshop. We're talking about getting a reliable coverage bubble that means you can walk around and know that you've got that connectivity, and it's seamless. So what does it look like in reality? Not necessarily parallel like this. In a series, but if we look at the house, we can bounce a connection to the machinery shed. We can then move one to a different shed. And if that, let's just imagine for a moment that they were in a triangle, that would create a bubble, not only in the triangle, but around it. And so we can do them in line to signal out between buildings, but we can also create that entire bubble. So it's really important to understand these devices are not that expensive. There are some cheaper ones which are harder to maintain. There are some more expensive ones, and there are some mid-range ones. And each one, the indoor ones can be about $120. The ones outdoor on the sheds, on the workshop, can be a couple of hundred, but they do last. I've had some of my outdoor ones for about 4 years now, 5 years, and they're really easy to maintain. They come with an app that's easy to add. They're not technical to maintain. I can help you set them up either remotely on a Zoom call if you're not that nearby, or I can come out and actually show you how to set them up and where to put them. Either way, it's really easy for me to assess looking at Google Maps if you want to drop me a pin. Or as I said, I can come out and visit you and we can have a chat about your layout at the same time. But like I said, they're not expensive devices. There is a little bit of time in setting them up, but they're pretty much set and forget. They're not going to be something you have to reset all the time and mess around with. It's just that reliable connection that you want, that just is there for you and your family and your farm operations. So what does that look like? This is probably the best image I can show you. Your range will be dependent on the device that you choose, but I can help you select those. It's really about creating the most effective bubble with strong connectivity so that you can get the same strength connection from your home, your shed, and other areas of your farm. If you don't have flat land, mesh is much more forgiving than point-to-point line of sight devices as well. All right, so if you need more information, a couple of ways to do this. As I said, you could drop me a Google Maps pin and I can have a look and give you a bit of advice from there and get you started on a Zoom call, or I can come out and actually do a full audit depending on the size of your farm. Depends how complex that is. But I'm here to help with all your connectivity needs. I hope that explains a bit more how mesh Wi-Fi works. Like I said, a collection of nodes all bouncing signal between each other, and they know which is strongest. Look forward to hearing from you.